Alright, Introduction to Business Analytics. This is chapter number 1, right? So as you remember, dalam lesson plan, we already talked about the syllabus content. The first chapter is Introduction to Business Analytics, right? So what is business analytics actually? Actually, business analytics is an action of transforming data into effective business decision lah. So we are making sense of raw data to a meaningful manner for making a business decision, right? So we try to make a good business decision from data, right? So every company, every business have a data, right? Even in dalam kedai runcit pun ada data dia if they have a very good system. So system macam mana, database untuk key in how many stock they have, how many customer purchase their goods, right? So dia akan ada data tu. So kita boleh relate example macam mana dalam Tesco, right? Tesco dia punya susunan rak dia tu, right? Let's say dia letak soya dengan cincau. Last time kan, masa waktu bulan puasa dia akan letak dua item tu together. For example, how do they know to put that two item together? This is based on the data, right? So they know people are buying this with this, right? For example, dalam bonus link card kalau kita pakai, kita beli, kita akan dia apa yang bonus link card bagi kat kita point tu, sebab dia nak collect kita punya data, right? So the process of business analytics is, first is we need to understand the nature of data, right? Before we analyze the data to a meaningful manner, we need to understand the nature of data, in what term, in what the type of data, whether it contain a categorical data or numerical data, right? Categorical data means that data that can be categorized. For example, gender, male or female, ethnicity, Malay, Chinese, Indian. Data that we cannot measure, but we can identify. That what we call as a categorical data. Numerical data means that the data that can be measured in terms of height, weight, right? Something dia ada measurement tool dia tu, right? Kilometers, right? So by using qualitative and quantitative method to inquiry, the data of inquiry to analyze the data lah. So we need to utilize both qualitative and quantitative. So what is quantitative and qualitative? Quantitative is numerical data, something that we can measure. Qualitative is the categorical data, something that we cannot measure, but we can identify. Red, yellow dengan green, traffic light color kan, we can identify. So the process of business analytics also involve employing a suitable technology to produce reliable and meaningful output. Means that we need to utilize all the technology available, such as kalau you nak record data, how are we going to record data? We record data using database, right? Data warehouse, kita nak letak data dalam tu, and then we need to have a very good machine, computer to analyze the data, right? And so on lah. And once you already analyze the data, right, we need to present the data and interpret the result, present the result and interpret the result in a simple manner so everybody can understand the result, the output, right? So we can make a powerful business decision for future punya uptake lah. So kita nak buat apa-apa kan, decision. So this is the 4 process involved in business analytics. Basically, these all process are interrelated with statistics, because the definition of statistics itself is how we collect the data, organize the data in a proper form, analyze the data, interpret and present the data, right? So basically, we need to understand business analytics are interrelated to statistics punya process. So this is an example of application for business analytics. For example, customer segmentation. We need to identify and target key customer in group, retail, insurance, credit card industries, for example. And then location, we need to find the best location for bank branches, ATM, or where to service industrial equipment. Macam tadi, I contoh yang masa mula-mula tadi I cakap berkenaan dengan feasible study. Let's say, last time I work as in a parking industry. So in parking industry, we need to open a new area. Right? So kalau kita nak buka area yang baru, we need to study that area whether it is profitable ataupun kita buka area tu kita tak boleh nak buat profit. Contoh macam tengok berapa banyak kereta yang akan parking dekat situ, right? Easy to access that area atau tidak, right? Contoh macam ada gangster kat tak situ. Kalau ada gangster macam mana kita nak identify kat, nak masuk area tu. Itu kita kena tahu dia punya area condition. So for feasible study. So when we do feasible study, we analyze the data, then we can make a recommendation lah whether it is profitable ataupun whether kita boleh teruskan ataupun tak payah teruskan. So nowadays, many application of business analytics are in social media, right? So people can understand trend, customer perception, right? Using a survey, using bonus link card kan, kita collect the data online kan. This one is to assist marketing managers and product designer lah, to make a proper plan for future punya successful. This is the evaluation of business analytics, right? So it start from pre-industrial era, industrial era and digital era, right? So what is the difference between pre-industrial, industrial era and digital era? So pre-industrial era is the data is recorded on manual as a basis, right? Yes, Fatima. Yeah, I recording this lecture. No worries. Right. So pre-industry era, there is also a business analytics punya part involved. But in pre-industry era, we notice that the data is recorded in manual basis. Maksudnya dia record dalam buku besar. Kalau kita pergi ke klinik kesihatan dulu kan, buku besar registration part diisi borang-borang apa semua, diisi maklumat, and then the doctor will key in our punya description dalam card and then disimpan dalam container. Right, this is very hard to get the data lah. I pernah pergi dekat hospital in Penang, Bukit Mertajam and Hospital Penang. So I went to dia punya record department. So dia letak semua record dalam container. Belakang dengan gelap semua cukup. Nak cari satu-satu memang susah nak cari data. This is they are not using a technological punya tools lah. This is pre-industrial era. Nowadays, all of data recorded in computer, right? So kalau ada yang company-company yang menggunakan manual basis, so maksudnya dia masih dalam zaman batu, right? So data was not thoroughly engaged and with making a decision lah, business decision. They are based on dia punya experience and dia punya perception. So this is a pre-industrial era. So then the world are evaluated, and then kita masuk kepada industrial era, right? The usage of data is still limited. No technological available to share the data, but they are collecting data in computer, store the data in computer, but they are not sharing the data. Right, dia tak letak dalam cloud, so dia letak dalam server dia sendiri. Kalau terbakar dan habis, right? So but still the analytics were made to advise business on how to secure competitive advantage, right? So dulu pun kita menggunakan business analytics jugalah, analyze data to make very good decision for business strategy. So digital era starting from 1970s onwards lah, where computer are widely used. Right, the process of data collection and processing was known as business intelligence. So business intelligence means that we collect the data when we describe the data in a simpler manner. Contoh dalam bentuk chart or bar chart, and when we have that frequency data distribution result, and we make a decision based on that part, right? Business intelligence. But in our subject, we will learn business analytics. Business analytics, we are going beyond business intelligence, right? We are trying to look into a predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics, where nowadays people are talking about a lot more on business analytics because there are advantage of predictive analysis and prescriptive analysis. Contoh macam tadi I bagi tahu, COVID-19 cases, right? So kita tahu yesterday 7,000. So we want to know what will happen in next 2 weeks, right? So either the case going to rise up or going down, keep going down. So kita nak ambil advantage juga dengan dia punya current situation, rentas negeri dah boleh lah apa semua, kita nak tengok R0 dia. This is a part of business predictive analysis lah. Right, and then they are also using information systems such as database and machine learning and so on lah. So now let's look at the scope of business analysis. So yang sebelum ni topik-topik sub topik yang I cakap sebelum ni, you boleh baca dalam buku for more information lah. You boleh cari buku-buku extra. Do not rely on that book yang kita beli saja. Cari buku-buku lain juga untuk tambah information. So now, scope of business analytics, as I said before, so we are not stopping at business intelligence saja, which is descriptive analysis. We are going beyond, which is predictive analytics and prescriptive analysis. So what does it mean by the descriptive analytics? Descriptive analytics is use of data to understand the past and current business performance and make informed decision. It based on solely on the description of the data. We want to describe the data whether last month tinggi, 2 bulan lepas lagi tinggi, so case dia makin turun. Kita akan tengok dia punya trend. This is a descriptive data lah. So kita nak tengok produk yang banyak sales, let's say produk A, B, C for the past month. So kita boleh tengok dalam bentuk bar chart. So yang produk C lagi tinggi berbanding dengan produk A, contoh. So that is a part the role of descriptive statistics, descriptive analysis. So for predictive analytics, is predict the future, right? As I said before, predict the future based on examining the historical data. We are based on historical data, and we're going to detect the pattern and relationship in this data, right? So we're going to do prediction lah, maksudnya forecasting, predict the future lah based on past data. That's why kita bukan tok bomo, kita predict, kita tahu apa akan jadi di depan based on data, but we are not giving 100% confidence that prediction will be exactly happen. So in predictive analytics, we will give some errors. So kita akan tinggalkan some errors. So that's why kita akan belajar confidence interval nanti. So berapa banyak error? 95% confidence that our analysis will be correct, and we reserve 5% of committing error. Maksudnya 5% kita akan tinggalkan untuk result akan datang ni tak betul. Either dia akan meninggi ataupun menurun. Right? Prescriptive analytics identify the best alternative to minimize error, maximize or some objective. For example, let's say we want to do transportation cost. Kita nak reduce transportation cost. Let's say you are in a warehouse or manufacturer company. You want to distribute your production goods kepada retailer, right? So kita nak tahu berapa banyak route yang kita boleh pakai yang available, and then kita nak cari route yang mana yang bagi minimum cost or transportation cost. So dalam membuat predictive analytics or descriptive analytics, kita akan jumpa pelbagai alternatif, right? many alternative or many option to solve the problem. So in prescriptive analytics is we want to identify which alternative yang bagi dekat kita minimum cost and maximum profit. That is a part of prescriptive analysis lah. So hopefully you understand what is the difference between descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. Right? Very simple to understand. Right. So now let's look at into first example, retail markdown decision. Right. So most department store clear seasonal inventory by reducing price. Right. So dia nak clear up dia punya inventory so they can reduce dia punya cost, storing cost. Right. So setiap barang yang ada disimpan dalam warehouse, dalam production, mesti dia kena clear. Sebab kalau tak, dia akan increase dia punya production storing cost, labor cost and so on. So that's why to reduce the stock, we need to do some promotion, reducing price. So the question is when to reduce the price and how much to maximize the revenue, right? So kita tak boleh simply reduce the price suka hati. So kita nak tahu berapa banyak yang kita boleh reduce the price so people will buy the goods and we still maximize our revenue or profit. So potential application of analytics is descriptive analysis, descriptive analysis and prescriptive analysis. This is all process dalam business analytics will involve in this decision lah. So in descriptive analytics, we will examine historical data for similar product, price, unit sold, advertising cost and so on lah. And predictive analytics will predict the sales based on price. Kalau sales tu tinggi, kita boleh turunkan sikit saja, bagi discount, still on margin, right? So still kita boleh clearkan produk lah. Prescriptive analysis find the best set of pricing and advertising to maximize the sales revenue, right? So that is a key or potential application of business analytics, right? So now let's look at another part in business analytics, which is software support, right? This is very important. So in business, we don't really like manual analytics for most of the cases lah, right? So we want everything to be automated, right? So that's why we need to have a very good software support to do analysis, right? Support macam contoh, kalau let's say every time you nak buat analysis, let's say each quarter, so let's say bulan March you nak buat analysis whether you want to reduce the price or you want to maintain the price or up the price. So kalau you nak buat every quarter you nak analyze one by one, dan dia akan ambil masa lah, kerja lain pun tak boleh buat kan. So that's why you need to have a very good software support such as IBM Cognos Analytics, SAS Analytics, Tableau software, so they can give you instant result. And when you look into the result, then you can make a decision, right? So IBM software, IBM Cognos Analytics. So this is an integrated business intelligence and planning solution designed to meet the needs of mid-sized company. Provide reporting, analysis, dashboard, scorecard, planning, budgeting, and forecasting capabilities. Right. So this software require no previous analytical experience. Right. Dia ada customer support. Kita boleh minta tolong dengan customer support untuk redesign our dashboard and company punya outline. SAS analytics, this is part of predictive analytics. We need some expert to do the analysis. It's involved predictive modeling, data mining, visualization, forecasting, optimize, and model management, including statistical analysis, tech analytics, and more lah. This is very powerful software, right? But we need to buy this software lah. For a company, I think there is no problem to buy a software. But since we're going to have an expert to analyze the software, to analyze the data using this software, some company might need to hire an employee to do analysis on this software. But nowadays, current era, we have many freely available software such as R, Python, Ruby, C++, and so on, right? So if you are in the company, if you are thinking about reducing the cost of buying the software, you can hire somebody, an analyst to design the predictive modeling using a free software lah, such as R, Python, and so on. So Tableau software this is another powerful software. It's a software for data visualization, right? So it simple drag and drop tools for visualization data from a spreadsheet to and other database. Nanti kita akan belajar nanti dalam chapter number 3, right? So don't worry, this is a very simple software lah. Right. Now let's look at data for business analytics. So data for business analytics involve two parts. First is a numerical data or textual data. This is what we call as data lah. Figures that are collected through some type of measurement process. Right. Information result from analyzing data. So this information is getting from the end product of data analysis lah. Kita dapat, okay, let's say macam tadi contoh, okay, kita dah tahu next month is predicted our sales going to drop due to apa-apa, contoh macam zaman sekolah belum buka lagi, contoh, ataupun sekolah akan buka, okey, sales akan meningkat sebab sekolah akan buka, baju-baju sekolah akan parent akan kena beli baru, contoh. So kita akan dapat result from the data, then from this result we call it as information, so we can make a decision whether you want to do a sales kan, nak bagi apa-apa decision, business decision kan. So this is data for business analytics. Right, since we are talking about data, right, let me close this one for a while. One note. Right. Let's look at into this. Okay. Okay, this one. Okay, tadi kita ada cakap kan berkenaan dengan qualitative and quantitative. Remember? Qualitative and quantitative. Say we are talking about data. Data, apa beza data dengan variable? Data means that, okay, variable. Kita talk about variable. Variable, something that we are interested to study. For example, price, revenue, sales, right? So this is what we call as variable, something that we interested to know, right? Data, the value inside that variable. Let's say price 15 ringgit 20 cents, 12 ringgit 59 cents, right? So this is what we call as data. Let's say gender, male, female. So this is what we call data. Revenue, 1 million, 2 million, sales, let's say 500k, 200k, for example. So this all the value inside the variable we call as data. So now let's look at the two type of data. We have qualitative data and we have quantitative data. Qualitative data, remember as I said before, is a categorical data. Categorical data or non-numeric data. Non-numeric data. For example, kita tengok sini, this is a numeric data, right? Something yang ada numbers, right? This is non-numeric data, but we can make it into a numerical, which is 1, 0, right? But this one, male and female, is non-measured data, right? We identify. So this is qualitative data. Qualitative data, again, I said, is a categorical data, non-numerical data, right? Something that we cannot measure is called as qualitative variable or qualitative data. On other side is a quantitative data. Quantitative data is a numerical data. It based on counting or measurement. You can get the data from counting or measurement. For example, let's say number of student, number of families, number of children. So we can get it from counting. Let's say kita kira 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So kita count, kan? Kita count, itu adalah numerical data. Another part of numerical data is came from measurement. Yang kita boleh measure. Let's say, for example, height. We can measure height, right? In meters, in centimeters, right? Dia dalam bentuk dia ada SI units lah, right? Kilometers, let's say weight, kilogram, gram, right? Liters, and so on lah. Something that we can measure, it lies under measurement quantitative. So now, under quantitative, we have divided into two parts. It's been divided into two parts, which is a discrete quantitative and continuous quantitative. Boleh faham setakat ni? Before I go further, ada soalan tak setakat ni? We try to understand the first phase of the qualitative and quantitative. So this is the first phase. This is the second phase. Boleh faham first phase? Ada soalan tak? Soalan? Not yet. Okay. Good. So, for a quantitative data, we have two parts, which is a discrete quantitative data, discrete quantitative variable, or another one is continuous quantitative variable. So, as I said before, quantitative, we can get the data from either counting or measurement. If the data can be counted, such as number of student, number of accident, number of house, number of family, number of children, so it lies under discrete quantitative variable. Nama pun discrete, kan? Discrete means that it involve a whole number. Whole number means that there are no decimal point lah. There are 0, 1, 2, 3. Dia tak ada 0.1, 0.2, tak ada. Dia 0, 1, 2, 3. Whole number. For continuous quantitative variable, it involves any number between the range, let's say from 0 to 100, are possible. Any number between 0 to 100 are possible. Means that we can get the data from measurement. Let's say weight, height, lagi apa? Money. Semua ni numerical lah, right? Yang ada point, yang ada decimal point, let's say 12.5, sales price, semua tu numerical lah yang kita boleh measure, right? Continuous quantitative variable. So, understand. So now, okay, boleh sebelum kita turun yang bawah? Bolehkah sebelum kita turun yang bawah? Right. So now, Under the variable, we have another part we call as level of measurement. So this is the level of measurement lah. So dalam level of measurement, we have four level of measurement, which is nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. So you can refer to my slide as well lah, benda yang sama. So I make it simplified so you can understand which level of measurement lies under which part, right? So under qualitative variable, we have nominal scale and ordinal scale. So remember, qualitative variable is a categorical variable. Right? Again, I going slowly. Qualitative variable is a categorical variable. So nominal scale and ordinal scale is also a categorical variable. Both are categorical variable. So what differentiate between nominal and ordinal? Ordinal is a categorical variable that cannot be ranked. Cannot be ranked or cannot be ordered. Maksudnya tak boleh di rank, tak boleh disusun ikut rank lah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and tak boleh ikut order lah. Maksud contoh for example is gender. Male or female. So we cannot say male is number one, female number two, or female number one, male number two. It can be either one lah. Mana-mana kita nak susun suka hati kita. Let's say blue, yellow, green. It cannot be ranked, right? It can be letak macam tu saja. Right? Ataupun ethnicity, Malay, Chinese, Indian, Siamese, right? So you cannot say Malay is number one, Chinese number two, or Chinese number one, Malay number two, Indian number three, or otherwise, right? So semua categorical variable that cannot be ranked, cannot be in order, it lies under nominal scale. So if you look at into this scale, right? Nominal scale has a less informative, ordinal scale an upgrade of nominal, interval scale is informative, or ratio scale is having high informative. Now let's look at ordinal scale. Ordinal scale. Ordinal scale is a categorical variable because it still lies under qualitative variable. Right? It's a categorical variable. So what differentiate between nominal and ordinal? Ordinal, since the name is ordinal, means that the categorical variable can be ordered, can be in order or ranked. For example, let's say your household income. Right, for example, household income, let's say the first one is less than RM 2000, 2001 to 3000, 3001 to 4000, and then more than RM 4000. So number one should be less than 2000, number two should be 2000 to 3000, number three 3000 to 4000, and number four is more than 4000. Another example is committee members. Let's say you said president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. It should be number one should be president, number two is vice president, secretary, and treasurer. We cannot say the first one is treasurer, second is president, third is secretary, and last is vice president. It should be in order, right? So the categorical variable that must be in order and can be ranked, it lies under ordinal scale. Boleh faham antara dua skill ni? Boleh? Hei manusia, boleh ke faham? Ya. Grading. Yes. Grading sama jugalah. Grading A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus. It should be in order lah. You cannot say C first, A plus, B minus. Tak boleh, macam tak betul lah. Right? It should be in order. When a categorical variable can be ordered, it lies under ordinal scale. Boleh? Okay. Now, let's look at the second part. Okay, the second part is a quantitative variable. Quantitative variable, as we know from prior information tadi I bagi tahu, so it can contain the data from counting and measurement. So counting and measurement can be subdivided into two categories, either discrete quantitative variable or continuous quantitative variable. The difference between discrete quantitative and continuous quantitative, discrete quantitative involve counting number, is a whole number. Continuous quantitative is a number get from measurement. It can be measured, right? So for example, height, weight and money lah. So dalam quantitative variable, we have two scale. First is interval scale, another one is ratio scale. So both level of measurement, interval and ratio, are from counting or measurement. The simple word is, it's a numerical data lah. It's a numerical data. Right? It's a numerical data. It's not a categorical data. So what differentiate between interval and ratio? Ratio and interval are differentiated by the true zero or not the true zero. Both are numeric value. What differentiate between numerical interval and ratio is the zero value. The zero value for interval is not a true zero. Not a true zero. What does it mean? It means that, for example, let's say we take temperature, for example. Temperature, 100 Celsius means that boiling temperature lah kan. Sangat panas. 0 Celsius means that, adakah bermaksud tak ada temperature? Tak kan? Dia bermaksud takat beku. Very cold situation dekat situ kan. So means that zero value dekat situ, 0 Celsius is not a true zero. It has a meaning on that zero. Right? So kalau 0 Celsius sama dengan berapa Kelvin. So dia ada value kat Kelvin pula kan. So means that dalam example ni, zero value is not a true zero lah. So when zero value is not a true zero, it lies under interval scale. Right? We cannot, dalam interval kita tak boleh nak tolak. Let's say kita kata 10 Celsius dengan 20 Celsius. Kita tak boleh kata 20 Celsius tu lebih panas 10 kali ganda berbanding dengan 10 Celsius. Tak boleh kata macam tu kan. Sebab dia tak boleh ditolak lah. Tak boleh menggunakan subtraction, manual usual subtraction. So in ratio scale, it has a true zero. True zero means that zero is a true zero. Faham tak? Tak faham. Maksudnya bila you kata you tak ada duit dalam poket you, currently you don't have money, means that you don't have money lah. RM0. Tak ada duit. Maksudnya, let's say you kata height is 0, means that there are no height at all. Weight is 0 kilogram, means that there are no weight at all. Contoh. That is a true zero. Boleh faham tak perbezaan antara dua ni? Boleh eh? Yes? Trying to understand, yes. Good. So you try to understand. So very simple to understand. I buat dalam bentuk bentuk macam ni senang untuk faham lah. Kita boleh tengok dalam sini. Okay, dekat dalam slide I ada tunjuk the example. Another example for interval scale is calendar dates, right? So kita tak ada zero dates kan? It will start from one kan? Temperature degree, number of system, dress size, shoe size, right? Shoe zero means that apa? Dia bukan tak ada size zero kan? Size zero means ada size lah tapi subjective, very subjective. Tengok kepada dia punya ni. In ratio scale, height, age, weight, score system, number of sale, distance to school, bus fee is an example of ratio scale. So dalam ratio ni kita boleh subtract. Subtract maksudnya distance between from let's say 10 to 20 kilometer. 10 and 20 kilometer, kita boleh kata 20 kilometer is 100% more from 10 kilometers. Contoh kan? Atau 10 kilometers more from 10 kilometers. Right. So now let's look at into example of data source and uses. Right. Kejap ya. Okay. Now, we look at into example of data source. So when we want to do a business analytic analysis, so usually we are looking into annual report, accounting audits, financial profitability analysis, economic trend, marketing research, operation management performance, and many more lah. So this is a source of data that can be utilized in business analytics lah. If you want to know the pattern of people visit your website, say you want to do a marketing on a certain product, then you put into your website contoh. So we need to do analysis. So we can count the visitor dalam website, berapa banyak visitor. Kalau tak cukup kita punya target, and that means that our marketing strategy is not really work out lah, right? So this is an example of data source lah. So to get the data, macam tadi I cakap dalam project, so you can get the data from kaggle.com, right? You can go to kaggle.com, you can go to data.gov.my, you can go to any GitHub website, for example COVID website. So basically try to find business data lah, sales, revenue and so on lah. Right, data set and database. So just a definition, tadi kita tengok what is data, what is variable. Data set means that a collection of data. Dalam satu data set, dia mungkin ada banyak variable. Ada name of the customer, address of the customer, phone number, the location, and then the goods they buy, previous buy, and berapa banyak monthly spending, right? Itu adalah data set lah. So example of data set lagi adalah marketing survey, response, table of historical stock price, collection of measurement, of dimension, right? Berapa ramai yang terlibat dengan stock market? Tak ada. Main saham? Tak ada saham. Forex? Tak main lah. Tak berani. Okay. Nanti kita belajar chapter number 7. Boleh berani-beranikan diri. Right? Kita belajar chapter number 7 nanti you boleh terror dah. Right? You can make a profit lah nanti. InsyaAllah. Right? So, tapi dengan syarat you kena faham lah chapter number 7 nanti. Okay, now let's look at database. What is the definition of database? Database is a collection of related file containing records on people, place or things. So a data set may contain, in database may have a lot of data set. Means that ada dataset 1, dataset 2, dataset 3, banyak dataset dalam satu database. So dia a collection of dataset lah. Ada banyak file of data. Right? So usually database dalam company dia akan connect to banyak entities lah. Right? So database file usually organized in two-dimensional table. Right? This is for a structural database. If you are working in IT companies, right? They maybe have a non-structured database called as NoSQL database. For a structured database, we call as SQL database. Select from where. Sama juga select from where dalam no structured, tapi perbezaan dia tak structured lah, dia organize dalam bentuk file such as image, receipt, right? Receipt gambar-gambar semua dia akan letak dalam no SQL or non-structured database. So this is example number 2, a sales transaction database file. So now this is a dataset, example of dataset. Tadi saya cakap berkenaan dengan dataset. So this is example of dataset. We have basically a number of column and number of rows. So number of column ni kita panggil variable. For example, customer ID, region, payment, transaction code, source, amount, product, time of days. Ini dipanggil variable ataupun attribute ataupun features. So, tengok kebanyakan buku dia menggunakan nama-nama yang berbeza. Right? Tapi pada objek yang sama. Boleh faham? Contoh, okay. Ini kita panggil variable. Right? Region, payment, transaction code, source, amount, product, time of day is called as variable. It's understood the whole world. Some books will call this as attribute. It's also understandable as a variable. Some books will call this as features. It's also understandable as variable. Right? So now we have records. Records dekat sini adalah 1001 is PayPal. This is each row we call as records. Yang kita faham yang tadi I tunjuk tadi adalah data. Benda yang sama. Records, data adalah benda yang sama. Right? So satu table ni, the whole table we call as entities ataupun dataset. Entities is a name for representing a dataset in database. Right, dalam database kita akan ada banyak entities. So setiap satu entity dipanggil satu dataset. Boleh This is very important to know and you need to read back a lot. Lepas ni baca banyak kali sebab ini akan masuk dalam test number 1. Now, let's look at into big data. So nak habis dah, lagi sikit saja. Big data. So nowadays we are talking about big data. Right? So big data, jangan fikir kedai runcit tak ada big data. Kedai runcit yang ramai orang involved with the big data. Every day, every part of time dalam satu hari tu, ada ramai customer yang datang beli. Right? So, kalau dia simpan data, in a month, they will get 1 million data. Right? In a year, even billion data. Right? So now the big data means that we have a lot of data in a database. It just contain many data compared to textbook data lah. Kalau kita tengok textbook data yang akan bagi dalam kelas ni, semua data-data yang sikit-sikit saja. So basically the concept are still same, right? In the big data, we have a lot of data, itu saja. Very big data. And normal computers would not be able to compute the data, right? Because it have a very large data and it might slow down your computer. So what is big data actually? In scientific definition, is refer to a massive amount of business data from wide variety of source, right? It available in real time, right? Setiap masa dia akan update new data, right? So this big data can be characterized into four parts. First part is, which is four V's lah, volume, verity, velocity, and veracity, right? So we will discuss these four on the next slide, right? So you boleh baca lah my slide nanti. So now we'll look into volume, four V's. Nampak ah? Boleh nampak? So volume means that the scale of data. We have very large data. Nowadays we have terabytes, zettabytes, quintillion bytes, and so on lah. Banyak data lah. Kalau you are working into a very big company, so you will see a lot of data and you will have a server for storing that data only, right? So maybe in a cloud, maybe in your own in silo punya server. Velocity means that analysis of streaming data, means that the data is keep on coming, right, in real time. And real time maksudnya dia akan tambah. Macam contoh, last time I work at Enrich program Malaysia Airlines kan. So the data is keep on coming, right? Every day there are new customer, so database tu dia akan keep on updating. And variety of data means that there are different form of data. Another V, variety means that sometimes dia ada dalam bentuk gambar, dia dalam bentuk videos, right? It depend on how you capture the data. For example, Twitters, we have a text data, right? It's not in number, but in text. YouTube, we have videos, right? And then kita ada CDs, dulu CDs lah ni tak ada CDs kan. So kalau dalam Facebook ni kita ada gambar, kita ada text document, kita ada video, compile everything into one, right? So variety of data, there are a lot of uncertainty of data. So when you have very big data, we cannot look every data, right? We have no times to look one by one of the data, right? So there are a lot of uncertainty data. We don't know what the type of data are in the data set, the database, right? Sometimes the data is kaput, sometimes the data is missing, sometimes data is not really normally distributed. So that's why in business analytics, right, the process of getting the data ready for analysis. The process of getting data ready for analysis means that the part of data cleaning and data preparation is the most toughest job ever, right? So we will get a higher paid for that particular job lah, right? So for when the data is ready for analysis, that is it taking 1 or 2 minutes to get the result when the data is ready for analysis. When you have a raw data, you need to identify what is the missing value. You need to remove the missing value. You need to rectify and make it ready for analysis. You need to make it in proper form to analysis. So that is the toughest job lah. But that's why in your project, I require you to get the data from kaggle.com and data.gov or COVID-19 website lah. Tak kisahlah, COVID-19 tu is not related to business kan. But you can go to Kaggle lah. It has a very big data and massive data. So I want you to clean the data, get the data ready for analysis and do analysis. Now, let's look at into models in business analytics. So model is abstraction lah, or representation of real system idea or object lah. Is basically in our subject, we are not talking about robotic model. Kita bukan nak buat model yang presentable dalam atas meja. We are trying to do a mathematical model. Mathematical model means that we want to do a model sound like this: y equal to mx plus c. Still remember mx plus t, right? This is a linear model, kan? M is for slope, c for intercept, right? So this is a dependent variable, and this is independent variable. So we are trying to do a model, a mathematical model like this, right? Ataupun satu lagi dalam chapter number 7, bukan T, y equal to seasonal multiply with cyclical multiply with irregular multiply with trend. So this is some of mathematical model that we were trying to do lah. Right, basically these two are the mathematical model yang kita akan tengok. Ada lagi yang chi-square analysis, F chi-square in chi-square and so on. So it capture most important features and can be written or verbal description or visual representation or mathematical formula. This is a definition of model lah. But in our subject, I emphasize again, we're going to do a mathematical formula because we want to get a meaningful sight on the data and make a business decision, right? I think that's all for business and introduction to business analytics, right?